ladies, and welcome back to another edition of Menopause Made Easy with Tanya. That's me, your host, and I am taking you on a ride from perimenopause, which starts in your 40s, all the way until the very end. I still run into so many women, and they say, I don't listen to your podcast because I'm not in menopause. And I'm like, you are in menopause. When you go through perimenopause and then you come out the other side into postmenopause, you are still menopause. Menopause is the one half to one third end of our, existence, shall we say, after you've had your period. And I am here to help you move through this time with more energy, more ease, and more empowerment. And today's episode is going to stir something inside of you. No matter what age you are, we all need to work on this because we're talking about identity, the stories we tell ourselves, the roles we cling to, and how those roles, even the positive ones, can quietly keep us stuck. Let me ask you a few questions. Have you ever said, I'm not a dancer? I don't like to lift weights. I'm not somebody who lifts weights. I am not flexible. I'm just a mom. I'm just a wife. I used to be athletic and now it frustrates me that I can't move the same way. Just these stories. And this is why I always say, listen to yourself like you're watching a movie and study yourself. And last week, I believe we talked about um, Bruce Lipton's book, Rewiring Your Beliefs in Midlife. And I love Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza and many, many others, but they have really helped me shift and listen and be aware. And so I'm going to share with you today something that is crucial because these statements sound innocent. They're just words, right? But they're identity statements, and our identities are powerful. They shape what we believe is possible and what we believe is off limits. And we are going to talk about identities keep us safe and stuck, identity in action. And I'm going to give you 5 women and the 5 shifts that they do to shift their identity. And then becoming requires you to let go, which is something that is so important during this midlife transition, because for many of us, we may no longer be the same parent, even though we still are mothers, but our role has changed. Maybe we've stepped into the role of being a grandparent. Maybe we've stepped into the role of a different job, or we're retired, or we need to increase our health and become the CEO of our own health. See, that would be an identity shift as opposed to somebody who doesn't believe they are the CEO of their own health. So let's start with identities keep us stuck and safe. And we have identities that once served us. I'm the strong one. I'm the busy one. Oh boy, did I wear that busy badge proudly. I'm the one that gets things done. I'm the one who puts everyone else first, right? And then to the neglect of yourself. And these roles give us a sense of identity. They give us a sense of safety, of purpose, of belonging, because we all want to be part of the tribe. Very important for humans. And so we gravitate to tribes. Pay attention and see where this is resonating with you. Here's the problem, though, with identity is that when life shifts, especially as it does during your menopausal journey, so you are perimenopausal when your hormones are going all over the place, you are postmenopausal when your hormones have become more balanced. And again, lots of role changes here. Role changes of no longer having young kids at home, maybe stepping into a grandparent role, maybe looking at your health a little bit differently. Maybe you've retired from a job. Lots of transitions here, and our old identities can become cages. The person we were might not fit who we are becoming. And this transaction or this transformation, it can be terrifying. And that's where I always say it's not the doing, it's the being. Because until we shift who we're being, the actions won't stick. I just really want you to take that in. Until we shift who we're being, the actions won't stick. And I see this so often with women who are trying to improve their health or trying to lose weight. And I actually don't like that word trying. Women that are doing the things to help them lose weight, doing the things to help them transition into a healthier human being. And they're not shifting their identity as somebody who is that person. And then we rebound. And I see this so often because you're stuck in the doing, not the being. I hope that makes sense for everybody. I'll probably do another episode on diving more deeply into this just to clarify a lot of this. Identity and action. So I love what I've been doing to my podcast lately, where I've been comparing women so that you can see yourself and how you may start to shift. So we're going to explore 5 women who are moving through identity shifts when it comes to eating, movement, and life roles. Let's take Sandra. Sandra is 64. She was an athlete to a wellness explorer. Sandra used to run marathons. Being an athlete was her identity, but now her knees hurt, her back hurts, her energy is different, and she can't train like she used to. And at first, she felt like she was losing herself. And then something clicked. She started calling herself a wellness explorer instead. So she was stuck on what she was in her teenage years, into her 20s. She was an athlete. Okay, then life changed, blah, 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 blah. She was still trying to fit into that role, but it wasn't fitting. And so all she did was say, I'm going to be a wellness explorer. And she swapped competition, okay, and trying to grind it out and running that was not suiting her body, that was actually hurting her, for curiosity. And she decided, what else could I do? Okay, since I'm a wellness explorer, what else can I do? I can hike, I can do some breath work, I can explore new ways to move, not to win, as her athletic mind was, but to feel alive. Oh, I just got goosebumps. And her shift was from, I must be strong to be worthy, to I move to feel connected to my body. All very subtle, but words are extremely powerful. I'm sure I have done an episode on the power of words. Now let's talk about Linda. Linda is 57, and she's gone from an emotional eater to a self-nourisher. And I was an emotional eater for a very long time, very stuck in that identity. And I was a sugar addict, very stuck in that identity. And identities can fulfill a role. They can keep us safe. Go listen to, I think it's episode number 57 or 67 about nervous system. Highly recommend you listen to that. And even last week in the Bruce Lipton episode, we talked about our nervous system and the shifts in consciousness. Okay, so you can get a payoff from being in a certain identity. I'll just leave it at that. So Linda always said, I'm just someone who eats when I'm stressed. That's what she said all the time. I'm a stress eater. I eat when I'm stressed. That was her identity, and it kept her in a loop of shame and overwhelm. And I can so identify with this identity. Instead of jumping into a diet, okay, she chose a different path. She became a noticer, which is what I became probably 15 to 18 years ago now, is a noticer, awareness. I started to sit back, and it wasn't overnight, let me tell you. It was a process. But she began to track how different foods made her feel emotionally and physically, which is what I've talked about a lot in here. Okay. And her shift was from I numb myself with food to I nourish myself with awareness. Oh, so powerful. And again, this is what we talk about in our midlife reboot. It's not always about doing, it's about being, embracing a different identity. My new Midlife Reboot program will open up again in January. In the meantime, you can join my Vibrant Living Academy, which is, oh my gosh, a treasure trove of mindset work, nutrition, and movement. Maria is 60, and she's has changed, her identification has changed from a martyr mummy to a self-honoring woman. Maria was a total caregiver. Oh my gosh. And I can tell you, I've talked about this in episodes where I'm mourning motherhood, mourning that caregiving role. I loved it. I love taking care of people, including myself. But anyway, let's get back to Maria. Maria was the caregiver, and her needs were always last. I didn't quite have this because I know through all my years of work how important self-care is, because when you fill your tank, you have energy to give to others. So I did make this identity shift very early on. And her body was whispering for rest. Hello, Maria, we need some rest. We need you to look after yourself. But her identity was so strong as a caregiver that she just couldn't, right? And she was basically saying, you don't matter as much as so and so. And so she just kept putting herself last. And then one day, that whisper became a very loud shout. And it said, no more, no more. And Maria began walking alone in the mornings for quiet time to listen to the birds, to nurture her soul. Oh my gosh, I have an amazing episode coming on about that. Oh, so exciting. She joined a woman's circle so that she could surround herself with love and connection. She reclaimed her own name, okay, not just mummy. She stepped into who is Maria at 60, not at 30, at 40, at 50, but who is she at 60? And she reinvented herself. And her shift was from I exist for others to I honor my own energy and needs. And I see so many women who are not stepping into self love and self care. And I feel it's really important. Like I said, you cannot give from an empty tank. Tammy is 55, and she went from I'm a dancer, I'm not a dancer. Sorry, I'm not a dancer. It's uncomfortable. I gotta drink to move my body to I express myself. See how we're going from some negative to positive here? And Tammy always avoided dancing in public or any dance classes or anything that she just felt she had no rhythm. She felt awkward, right? And she's like, I'm not coordinated. I can't do this. But deep down, we have this beautiful urge to move our body. And there's no right or wrong way to move our body. And we have removed ourselves so far. Like I said, we are an evolutionary mismatch right now because decades and decades ago, there was so much dancing. So much dancing. There was dancing by the campfire. There was dancing under the moonlight. There was just look back to the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, so much dancing, right, as a form of connection. And anyway, she was feeling this deep urge that she had been kind of just not identifying with it, and she just took the lid off and she said, I'm going to do something different, even though she felt uncomfortable and a little awkward. She did it anyway, and she joined a dance class. She came to my Vibrant Living Academy, where we do all different kinds. It wasn't actually dance classes, but we're just doing different movements. And she stepped in to some of the yoga and Pilates classes, and she really just started to move and feel that flow of her body. And something unlocked at a deeper level. And she moved not to impress anybody at all, but just to express herself. Those times where you just put some music on and you just start to dance while you're in the kitchen or the living room or whatever, and you're just allowed to feel this joy flow through your hips and your heart and your arms. Weekly I do rebounding and with clients and myself, and it's just this beautiful expression of just authentic movement. So if you can give yourself that gift, that would be awesome. And Tammy's shift was she shifted from I don't dance and just felt that rigidity to I express joy through movement. Oh, I love it. I love it. Are you taking the time to really notice your identities and how you can shift them? And again, this is what we work on in my midlife reboot. And until that opens in January, you can listen to the hours and hours of conversation that I share with you in my Vibrant Living Academy, or you can join my private sessions. And, there's a lot of power in those. Lastly, we have Joanne, and she went from social drinker to embodied non-drinker. And let's tell you about Joanne. She always, and I can identify with Joanne as well. Um, Wine with dinner. Um, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of something else, like just very social, right? With drinking and the party girl, right? The party girl kind of identification. And this is really part of your social identity. Look at the environment, the things that you do, right? And then how you're connected, and so many things can be based on alcohol. Again, just have a look at yourself. It may not be alcohol, it may be something else. But she was noticing, Joanne and I were chatting about this, how it was making her feel disconnected from her true self. She wanted more clarity. She wanted better sleep. She really wanted to up her game with her health. So she made a very powerful choice, and she decided to stop drinking. Not because she had to, not because she even had a problem, but it was just making her, it wasn't in alignment with where she was going. Okay, she wanted to feel better, and through awareness and noticing, she realized and connected the dots that this was not serving her anymore. And now she says, I'm a non-drinker, I'm clear, I'm joyful, I connect from the inside out. And she moved through the awkwardness of just being around her friends who continue to drink, because that's totally fine. They can do whatever they want, right? To really claiming what she wanted to do, which takes a lot of confidence and commitment to yourself. And her shift was, I need a drink to fit in. And I hear this from so many women. I need a drink if I'm going to dance. I got to loosen up. I could go on a whole tangent, but I'm not. Okay. And she shifted from I need a drink to fit in to I create connection from within. Oh my God, that's so powerful, ladies. So powerful. Becoming requires us to let go. And each of these women had to let go of who they thought they were to become someone new. And I have talked about, oh gosh, her name's just escaped me. Um, oh, it's coming in and out as I'm talking to you. But I have talked about how when you're going through these identity shifts, Carolyn Meese talks a lot about this. When you're going through these identity shifts, how you can step in, step out, step in, step out, because you're working through that discomfort. And this is one of the fundamental things I teach in my Midlife Reboot and my Vibrant Living Academy is how to sit in discomfort, how to move through discomfort, how to step into becoming somebody new, and that we call it practice and play. Practice and play. Just practice and play being somebody different and come in and come out and start to clear out those cobwebs and peel that layer at your onion. I call you an onion, and we're peeling that layer off of your onion. And I love the women. I love the women who are coming to me and joining my Age Strong and mobile classes online and in person, and they are stepping into, I want to be a strong woman. Okay. I'm going to lift weights for me because it makes me feel better. And I love this. I love it. So, who are you becoming? And this is your invitation in midlife. Your roles have changed. It's not to do more, but to become different, to say out loud, I used to do that, and now I'm this, or I am being this. And this shift is powerful and it's available to you. It's available to you. I went from someone who was sick all the time. I was sick all the time. If you knew me 20 to 30 years ago, even 40 years ago, I had chronic bronchitis. I was constantly coughing. I taught classes coughing. I was addicted to sugar. I was dragging myself. I was moody. I was so like I was a victim. Part of this was a victim. I wanted attention. And one day when my kids were very young, I, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I want to be a present mom, not somebody who's always thinking about how to grab my next fix to lift me up through sugar and alcohol. And I stepped into compassion and curiosity. And oh my God, so many other things started to shift for me. And I let go of trying to do everything overnight, and I gave myself time and compassion and patience. Oh my gosh, ladies, I cannot tell you how much I have transformed. And this past year, I have taken another huge step of transformation, which I will share with you at one point. But if you're in my inner circle, you know what it is. But I am just so, oh, I'm just so happy that I understood this information and took the step. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like your nervous system is keeping you safe, let's work through those things. Let's work through those things because they are a part of this puzzle, right? Remember, I said you are a piece of this puzzle, and we're putting together this beautiful puzzle of your life. And there's certain puzzle pieces that we need to tweak so that they fit into your puzzle of where you want to go. Oh, I just love talking about this stuff. So here, I have some questions for you today. What identity are you holding on to that no longer serves you? Really think about this. What identity are you holding on to that no longer serves you? And who are you becoming if you let her in? Oh, goosebumps. I've got goosebumps. Who are you becoming if you let her in? Okay. Ponder those questions. Feel those questions. What does that feel like in your body? What is your inner voice saying? What is your other voice saying? I have lots of voices. Maybe it's someone who moves daily because I'm worth caring for. Maybe it's someone that wants to lift weights because I want to be strong and independent. I am a woman who nourishes not punishes her body. I am becoming someone who speaks kindly to myself, to herself. Oh my gosh, the way I used to talk to myself was awful. Okay, I've completely changed how I speak with myself. And remember this, ladies, identity isn't static. Okay, it's fluid, and you are allowed to evolve. In fact, it's what this life stage calls us to do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being curious. Thank you for opening up and expanding. Oh, I have a great episode coming up on that too. And stepping into becoming more of yourself. And please, if this resonated with you and you know somebody who is stuck or safe, and this is a seed that you could plant in them so that they could open up to move into who you see them or they want to be, but they're too scared or stuck to see it, please share this episode with them. Please like, comment on my social media posts so that we can spread this message to other women. Please leave a comment if you can find it in your heart and subscribe to my podcast. It really does help other people find my beautiful messages. Until next time, ladies, I'm Tanya. This has been Menopause Made Easy, giving you lots of big hugs. Step into yourself. Share with me. I'd love you for you to share with me what is going on. Hugs, hugs.